Hi everyone, welcome to Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Making Studio. Today it's all about fringe. I love fringe and it's never ever going to go out of style. So let me teach you what I've learned about fringe in the last 18 years or so, because I will also share with you my boo-boos. I think, well, these are the earrings we're going to work on today. I like fringe because of the movement. I like my fringe to have weight to them so that they stay straight. And I've got a special secret that I'm going to share with you on how to make nice straight fringes. First of all, let me share with you some of my boo-boos. Now, this is a really kind of a cute earring, and it's available at Fire Mountain Gems on our Secrets to Seed Beads series. And I like this earring, except the fringe just doesn't have enough movement for my taste. So if you decide to make this, I would recommend take this earring and just make that fringe at least twice as long, maybe even longer. Get more movement. And then we've got earrings like this one, very pretty earring. I love it, but the fringes don't want to lay straight. And the problem with this is that this thread has a lot of muscle memory to it. I suspect, this was made a little while ago, I suspect it was probably made with a bonded nylon like the Fireline or the Wildfire, one of those types of threads. And they have a lot of memory to them. So I'm going to share with you my secret just a minute. I want to show you one more. This one's also a fringe, and it's super short. And to me, that's just about perfect. And then we're going to work on this one. This is the one with the straight fringe. Now, I start this off with a piece of brick stitch triangle. Brick stitch. We have a video on how to do brick stitch. So I'm not going to show you how to do this triangle today, but I will say, if you're going to be doing some brick stitch, highly recommend printing out some of this free, downloadable seed bead graph paper brick stitch. We have lots of different patterns, but this one's brick stitch. And that will help you design your triangle. But I would point out that each of these little representations of beads are offset. And so this works great for the triangle for brick stitch, not great for fringe. So when you go to plan your fringe, use the loom work graph paper, because this one, the beads will all line up. And you can make some really fun and elaborate designs using fringe and just straight lines. Cool stuff. Those are available free, downloadable at firemountaingems.com. And let's get going on this fringe and my super secret technique. Well, it's not very secret because I'm going to share it with all of you now. But one of the things I do is I switch from that bondable nylon to plain old-fashioned Nymo. Many of you have probably heard of it. It's just a nylon thread. It's very sturdy and strong. It's been being used for years. And it's much more flexible than those bonded nylons. But look at what it looks like when it comes off the spool. It's still got a lot of curly cues like a pig's tail. Here's the technique. You've got it in your bathroom, probably a hair straightener. Straighten that thread out before you make your fringe. Check that out. How easy is that? I've been missing this for years, and it's so easy. So I hope you love that tip. Here I have a piece of thread that I already straightened earlier, and I put it on a needle. Let's get started on how to make fringe. Making fringe. So I've got my needle, I got my thread, I've got my little triangle that I made earlier. I'm going to go up through any old handy old bead that I want to, and I'm going to skittle in the thread. The really good professional seed beaders try and avoid knots. So this is the way I always start my thread, is by skittling or weaving or just sort of going back and forth through a few beads until your thread end is in there nice and tight. Skittling, I think, is my personal term. I've heard it from a few people, but most people, I don't know what they say. Bead weaving, looming, I don't know. But I call it skittling because I think it's a cute term, and it seems to apply to what I'm doing here, which is just going through a few beads in my already established pattern until it's nice and tight, till the end of my thread is nice and tight and I don't can't pull it through easily. And then I'm going to work my way over. I'm going to go up here. These are delicate beads, by the way. They have a nice big hole. So there, see, now that's not going to slide through. And I want to get all the way over to come out this bead right here. I want to come out that bead. So whatever pattern I do to get there, let's see. If I go up that'll work. You can make up your pattern, any old pattern you want, just to get there. As you see, when I'm doing this, the thread kind of just falls down into the channels and disappears. Let's see if I can do it very slowly here. See how it's going to fall into that channel and just gone. And then I'm going to come down all three of these gold beads so I can come out the corner bead. I got two of them. And come out the corner bead. There we go. And I'm going to use my thread sealer to get off this little tail. Go away, little tail. This thing heats up and it literally melts the thread. Ooh, I even smelled a little bit of melting thread. There we go. All right, so here we go. We're going to start the fringe. For this fringe, my pattern calls for 1 gold, 10 iris blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 iris blue, a bugle bead, twisted bugle bead, 10 more iris blue, another bugle bead, 10 more iris blue, a bugle bead. Like I say, I like my fringes long because that gives them the weight to help them stay straight. We got the trick of flat ironing the thread, but it's also a little bit of weight. 5, 10. And that's one fringe right there. Now the fun thing is at the end, you could just put a single bead, but I want to make this a little bit fancier, so I'm adding 3 tiny size 15s. The other ones were 11s. These are 15s. These are little guys. Put on all of those. Skipping the little 3, the little tiny guys, I'm going to go back up through all of this fringe. So you can see why sometimes I make my fringes a little short, because I lose patience. I got to go through all of these beads back up, and that will make one fringe. And now there's another trick to fringes. Don't get them too tight. So I've got a little bit of gapiosis there. I want a little gapiosis, not this much though. So I'm going to hold on to those 3 beads at the end. I'm going to pull this up tight as I want, but not too tight. If you get them too tight, they start to like buckle and get weird, and want to keep them straight. We also don't want gaps, so it's a little dance to play to get it just tight enough. And now we're going to go down through the bead that's next door. Down through, can you see? My hands are in the way. Down through the very next bead. And we'll start the next fringe. And we'll keep doing that fringe, and each of these fringes got a little bit longer too. We're going to do fringe after fringe after fringe with the 3 little beads at the bottom, back and forth, all the way until we get to the end. We get to the end. Oh, aren't you happy I did this beforehand? So there is an earring completed, and all I have to do is the last fringe. Here's the last of them. And also up through that last gold bead that's part of your triangle that you made at the beginning. Pulling all this tight, holding onto those 3 beads at the bottom. Pull all this tight. Make sure your 3 beads make a little cute little pattern there. Tight, but not too tight. Generally, I like to try and roll it like that. That tends to keep everything as loose as it can be. And then, just like we did at the very, very beginning, you will skittle in to these threads, just like before. Go through a few beads, making sure your thread bridges automatically go into the little gutters. Being careful you don't pick up some of those fringes. Hide those things right in here until you formed a little knot. Basically, you form a knot, but it's all done the proper way. So we'll get that all skittled in. Trim it off with my nifty, neat little thread trimmer, thread sealer, thread burner, whatever you want to call it. And add an ear wire. And as I always say, being careful that you open up this little loop on I've got to get where you can see it. The little loop, there it is. The little loop, carefully open that up like you would a jump ring. Twisting it open. Pop it over the top of your ear wire. There's no front or back, so you don't have to worry about orientation. And then close it up. Ta-da! Click on the link in the description below to subscribe to our email list and learn more about jewelry making techniques and supplies. Okay, so there you go. A nice, beautiful fringe earring with lots of movement. Just the way I like them. Hope you enjoyed this project and all those tips you get for how to make a nice, beautiful fringe. Happy beading!